All right. I'm here with Liam from Default Kings. Liam, thanks for being here, man.
Of course, happy to be here.
Heck yeah, man. Well, my friend, tell the people how much weight did you lose?
So I think this morning I weighed in at just under 182 and started exactly at 200. And over the course of the last year or so, I'm down from 256. So just, yeah, incredible stuff. And 180 is the goal and it's right around the corner. So.
Wow, man, that's awesome. So starting all the way back at 256 when you first started this journey, now down to 182. What walk me through the process, man? What were you kind of struggling with um before losing the weight and before joining the program?
Yeah, so just over a year ago, went through a divorce. Young, but it happens,
Mhm.
and a lot of lessons learned from that. But nothing forces introspection more than an event like that, right? And I've been overweight pretty much my whole life. I can vividly remember even as early as 8 years old looking in the mirror and just being like,
Mhm.
"This is, you know." This isn't normal. This isn't what other kids look like. I was growing up in France at the time, and especially there, like, you know, you don't see as much, um, as many like overweight tendencies, right? Especially in kids. And so I noticed that difference very, very early on in my life, but I never did anything about it.
Mhm.
Both of my parents are have struggled with their weight, and it really wasn't until last year where I was like, okay, it's finally time to just do something about it, right?
Yeah.
And so stepped on a scale for the first time in years, saw 256 and couldn't believe it. I think my driver's license from 6 years prior said 170 on it, which was a lie at the time, but I had to, fake it on the driver's license. But it
Mhm.
was just shocking to me.
Mhm.
And so that's where I was like, all right, enough is enough. And started out just buying dumbbells and a bench at home
Mhm.
and started the journey. It led to, I told you guys when I first joined, I was eating chicken, rice, and broccoli every day for a couple months prior to joining Default King,
Mhm.
and it worked. I had been down from 256 down to 200 already, but I was miserable. Like
Mhm.
that experience was not fun, and I was
Gotcha.
like, I want to be healthy for the rest of my life, and I can't eat chicken, rice, and broccoli for the rest of my life. So
Mhm.
I need these guys to help me figure out a sustainable way to do this.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense, man. And I appreciate you sharing all that. I mean, obviously struggling with being overweight for, as long as you can remember, starting back at 8 years old, being one of the first times looking in the mirror and thinking this is not normal. And then going through the divorce and then starting to lose the weight on your own. Do you feel like right before you joined our program, that was still one of the main struggles was figuring out how to do it sustainably without, having to eat just chicken, broccoli, and rice?
100%. Yeah, like I knew I had a solution that worked, but I just didn't want to have to keep doing that. And I was going to the gym, 10 to 14 times a week.
Wow.
So it was fun, like I enjoyed it, but my body was tired. And I was like, what's the point losing the weight and trying to look good if I feel horrible the entire time?
Mhm.
Um, that's not the goal. So that was the big reason why I jumped on and joined the program.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Obviously a lot of gym time plus the chicken, broccoli, and rice. So what do you feel like were the changes that you made that made this more sustainable after joining?
So a lot of it just came to knowledge, right? Like chicken, broccoli, and rice worked,
Hmm.
but I learned why it worked, right?
Hmm.
Learning really how simple it is, the calories in, calories out, but also learning how to balance different macros and why they're useful. That was the big piece, right? Okay, rice, why?
Hmm.
Okay, well, it gives you energy. And when can you structure that within your day to make it most effective, right? You're on a limited amount of calories, so how do you use them effectively
Hmm.
so I don't feel horrible? My calories are actually not that different than when they were when I was on the chicken rice broccoli.
Mhm.
But they weren't scheduled properly, and I didn't understand the why. And so I wasn't utilizing them effectively. And I have so much more energy now, eating very similar macros to I was then. Um, Actually, very little carbs, but they're right around gym time.
Mhm.
And so I don't feel horrible in the gym anymore.
Yeah.
Um, I probably eat more protein now actually than I did then, which is scary, but I'm obsessed. So it is what it is.
Heck yeah, man. I love it. You went all in.
Mhm.
That's great though, man. Just learning how to structure things, learning the why behind why you're actually doing what you're doing. So you kind of have some freedom and a little bit more sustainability. What do you feel like outside just the physical was the overall impact of working with us?
There's a big confidence boost, right? I think, even the first week, first 2 weeks, there's a big emphasis on self-identity.
Mhm.
And over, you know, my entire life of, feeling fairly subpar, right? Especially physically. I mean that takes a toll on your mental well-being. It takes a toll on your self-identity. Going through, a divorce the year before that, didn't end well, and um, things were said back and forth, blah blah blah. Like those things kind of stay with you. So, big hit to the self-identity leading into the program, especially, and being able to just turn that around and really for the first time in my life being like, I'm very capable. I'm a very capable person, and I can become a person that I'm very proud of. And once you do that, I mean, it starts to seep into other areas of your life, whether it's work, whether it is relationships, family life, everything. It's not just the gym, although I mean, you can feel pretty powerful in the gym when you tell yourself that, right? But
Mhm.
um, it's a very impactful exercise.
Mhm. Yeah. That's fantastic, dude. I think like that's honestly, the deeper impact of doing all of this stuff is how it shifts you internally and then how that bleeds into other areas of life. Um,
Mhm.
what were some of the other areas of life that you saw had that kind of trickle down effect impact?
Yeah. Um, I mean, first and foremost was work. I told you right before we hopped on here that, today's my last day in my current position at work, moving into a promotion, and I'd like to think that that would have happened otherwise, but um, the initiative that it took internally within the company to get that role was something that took a level of confidence that I don't know if I had a year ago. Um, so I'd like to think that, even though I would have maybe gotten it, may not be a coincidence, but that process really happened while I was in this program. Um, and, you know, there was also like trading, right? Tried with day trading for years. I've been successful on and off. But when you are surrounded with a group of people that are very successful in what they do and push each other to be better. And there are members in the program that trade as well. I was able to connect with them. I had a very successful few months in the last few months. And so again, I don't think that's a coincidence after 3 years of very inconsistent results, having some consistent results while working on myself and networking with others.
Mhm.
It just seems unlikely to be a coincidence.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love to hear that. Right. Watching the scale go down, the lifts go up, and the graphs and the charts go up too, man. I love that.
Yeah,
Heck yeah. That's
no, that's right.
fantastic, dude. That's fantastic. PRs in every area of life.
Yeah.
It's cool. So yeah, man, with everything that you kind of learned through the program and the impacts that took place, how do you expect those to impact the rest of your life?
I mean, honestly, just outlook on life has been a lot better. I mean, I used to joke, and this sounds dark, but I used to joke with my friends, right, that 29 and a half was my cutoff. Don't want to see 30, that like it's just I'm good, right? Just gonna do all my living between 29 and a half, and then who cares?
Mhm.
Um, However, I mean, over the last year, especially, but again, especially the last 3 months, like there has been a very strong mental focus in myself to be the healthiest that I possibly can, to like foster a family for as long as I can, and be present for as long as I can. And that's a mindset that, is very different than a year ago. And, I just keep looking forward and I'm like, how can I, you know, continue this health journey? What is it going to look like 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 40 years from now, right? So I'm excited for the future, and I keep telling my girlfriend, I'm like, get used to this. Like the gym is happening, and I'm gonna be 60, and I'm gonna be in the gym, right? I'm gonna have a good time doing it. So um, yeah, it's gonna be a good time, and I'm just really happy to have a much brighter outlook on life now.
Mhm. Dude, that's awesome. I think when I hear stuff like that, man, going from, potentially a funny joke, but potentially a dark joke, to just having the confidence to expect a lot more of yourself, expect yourself to be the type of man who can raise and lead a family, the type of man who can live a healthy lifestyle for his
Hmm.
entire life, right? Telling the girlfriend, hey, get used to this because this is part of who I am now. That
Yeah.
to me marks a true identity shift, which is the goal. So that's fantastic, man. Man, last question for you is if there's any other young man who is listening to this and they relate to your story in any way, why should they take action and make a change in their life right now?
I think, it really, it doesn't matter what position you are in your life. Um, I feel like I'm really lucky to have learned these lessons at a younger age, right? Um, and so, yeah, I mean, if you are a younger guy and you aren't exactly happy with where you are in life right now, whether it's physically, mentally, you just don't feel like maybe you have the right network around you to help build you up. Like there is absolutely no better time. Um, and I think sometimes things like this, the financial commitment also can be a little bit daunting. And it was for me. I'm a grad student. All of my money is going towards grad school right now. So,
Mhm.
but man, like the impact that changing your life physically and mentally has on your success in life is so worth the investment. I really cannot emphasize that enough. And I was scared of that at first, but quickly realized that it was a fantastic decision, and I'm thrilled. I love this group of guys, and so very happy that I took part.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Well, Liam, your story is really inspiring, man, and I appreciate you taking the time here to tell the people about how you went from 256 now down to in the 180s and shooting for 180 flat, man. It's been awesome watching you transform inside and out. Appreciate you, brother.
Awesome, thank you. I appreciate you.
Awesome, man.